Hey, what's up, everybody in the Locomotion Challenge group? I am getting set up. It was my 11 o'clock ran. Whew, a little bit late, and sometimes get to talking in the studio and doing movement. So, all good stuff. Make sure this is switching over and set up properly. It looks like it so far. And so today you're going to need a band that you can attach to yourself, and then if you also have an external attachment point, we'll use that external attachment point too. If you have a dumbbell or a hand weight, which I'm going to grab super quick, and then we're going to warm up. So if you want to start with 2-8 walking breathing, if you already have all your stuff, otherwise you can grab yours as well, and we'll get going. So got a band. We're going to start using it external or without an external attachment, so it's actually going to be attached to you. So I'll show you that really quick and then grab my whiteboard because I do have a program lined up. I just need to grab the whiteboard. So if you wrap your band around yourself, basically tie it comfortably around the rib cage where it's putting a little bit of pressure on. What I want you to start with is just deep breathing into that band. So you're going to inhale, try to expand the band, and then exhale and let the band compress down on those ribs. So inhale, stretching into that band. Exhale, letting the band press down into the ribs. All right, so coming back to our respiration warm-up, I want you to keep going with the band breathing, but we're going to start some marching. So this would be a form of dual tasking where we're asking your brain to do two things at once. So we're going to march, but mentally I want you to focus on still stretching that band out on the inhale. So stretch on the inhale. Exhale, try to get all the air out on the exhale. And then the dual task is we're marching at the same time. So deep breath in again, try to stretch the band. And then exhale, let the band press in gently into the rib cage. From there, I'm going to have you take the band off. We're going to step onto the band, bring the band up to the same side shoulder. So if it's a closed loop band like this, we got same side shoulder to the foot, and then we're just going to do a little bit of bounce breathing. So here, I want you to focus on filling up your tummy. So as you breathe in to the tummy, then breathe in to the lower ribs, then breathe all the way up into the upper ribs while we're keeping this bouncing going. Deep breath in, try to fill up that whole thoracic chamber from stomach all the way up to the collarbones, then back out. Nice. Let's step that banded foot forward, and we're going to gently do a couple ankle tilts on that side. So press into the outside with the ankle tilt, and then lunge, and we'll press to the inside. Trying to press right where you're feeling that band, press that part of the ankle down in towards the floor. Good. And from there, let's switch sides. So we're going to go ahead, loop over the other shoulder, step down on that band, so you're stomping down on the band, and we're going to go right back into bouncing. So make sure that the band is anchored up fairly close to the neck, but it shouldn't be uncomfortable. We just don't want it to slide off the shoulder. So deep breaths in. And back out. See if you can nasal breathe as much as possible today. So a lot of benefits to nasal breathing. Some really actually significant health benefits. Like bringing blood pressure down, decreasing risk of issues in the arteries. So really focus as you're working through sessions, and also really subconsciously too, if we can retrain your respiratory system. So like overnight sleeping, there's something called sleep tape, where you actually tape the mouth closed, and little uncomfortable, but if you can retrain, rewire your subcortical brain to get comfortable with nose breathing, there's a ton of benefits to it. So we're going to go to ankle tilts again. Let's press to the outside of the ankle, staying tall, and gentle tilt to the outside of that ankle. Let's then go back to your lunge position, and we're going to gently go into the inside ankle tilt. Awesome work. And then let's go ahead and take the band off. I want you to take it, we're going to cross it and bring the hands together so it is double looped, and then we'll step into that. So with the double loop, we're going to step in, put one part of the band above, one part of the band below the knees, and then we'll start working into some continued lower leg work and some knee circles. So let's go into knee circle, bringing that knee around the ankle in a circle, and keeping good pressure into the floor with this foot on the circling side. So you're keeping that whole foot anchored. Nice job. Let's go the other way, other knee. Good. And then go the other direction. So I didn't see any responses to the post about whether somebody wanted to work on anything specific today. So I'm going to take you through a general session. Just quick side note on that. I love one-on-one training because I can get really specific and customized and provide better results for people. So if anybody wants to do a one-on-one session, just let me know. I love it. Like if I picked this versus one-on-one, hands down 100% of the time I'm picking one-on-one training. So that's my honest professional opinion, and I do this because I know movement's good for the body, and in a very general sense, some people are going to enjoy a lot of benefits. Some people are going to enjoy mild benefits. Some people might actually not, like non-responders to exercise, they call them. There's actually research on this, may not actually in a general cookie cutter type program get awesome results. And so because of that, again, I would pick one-on-one any day of the week. But we're going to keep moving through a forward lunge and a knee circle. Meaning, like if I were working with you one-on-one and we did some assessments, we found out based on your health history, based on the actual coordination of right side versus left side, the speed of the movement, the range of motion in different patterns, we might work on all one side. And that sounds really weird to people in the exercise setting. But when you take the brain into account and the neurology of one cortex maybe being stronger and wanting to inhibit the opposite side, if that pattern it goes on for long enough, or it becomes strong enough, there's a good chance that for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, we'd be doing unilateral work. And you'd think, well, one side's going to get stronger. But really it's not, because if we change the brain pattern, brains want to be balanced, you're actually going to get better results overall. So anyways, let's move on to the hips. So we're going to go ahead, loop one foot in. This would be a good one to hold on to something if you are curious about the balance or not 100% certain in it. So we're going to lock that leg out and then make a circle out in front. So knee is locked, toes are pointed up, and this would be a front hip circle. And then somebody else who needs more extension might do better with a back hip circle. So let's just warm it up. We're going to reach that heel behind you and circle both directions. Good. And then going out to the side. So reaching that heel out to the side, away from the other heel. And you could load this with a band. You could use body weight. Sometimes these hip circles just with your own body weight can be challenging. So circle in front, go the other direction. Let's circle that leg behind. So I'm reaching that heel back behind the other heel, fighting for tall posture. And that's a challenging one, also going out to the side. So reach that heel out to the side away from the other heel and smooth circle. So we're shooting for smooth, good motor control, trying to bring clarity to the brain-body connection, or the brain-body maps they're called. And then from there, let's go ahead and move into your upper body. So I'm going to have you loop the hands through the band where your thumb's below, fingers are up on top, so you're around the palm. And then if we have the range of motion to get here, we're going to come up overhead so that the band is anchored eventually around the upper back. And different ways to get there. So if that straight arm was tough, you could bend one. If you have one shoulder that's a little more mobile than the other, then that one, bring it overhead, and then find a way to get into that upper back position. From there, we're going to go into a forward lunge stance, press the arms out, and lock the hands together. So band is anchored, make sure it doesn't slide up. We want to kind of be almost underneath or on the shoulder blades so that it does have a little bit of an anchor point there. And then we're going to extend and flex the back. So I'm exhaling and rounding my back out, pushing that band back, and then I'm going to let the band win and almost assist me into a nice tall posture. Inhale and extend through that mid back, and then exhale, round it out again, and then inhale, extend. So really important that we get your thoracic spine, mid back moving, and these can be great pre-workout because they tend to ramp up our sympathetic tone, kind of our get ready to go type of muscle tone. It's also called fight or flight, but in the case of a workout, we want a little bit of that activity going. So lunge the other way. We're going to punch out again, connect those hands together, extend the back, and then flex. So exhale, extend and inhale. Flex and exhale. And back up tall. Trying to get those vertebrae in the mid back to go through some nice, solid, pain-free ranges of motion. Good. From there, let's go ahead and stand on the band again. And if the band is a decent enough resistance, so actually light enough really would be the right word, a light enough resistance, we're going to shoulder circle with it. And if not, you're just going to shoulder circle like this without it. Okay? So front shoulder circle, with or without the band, you pick. If you got a light hand weight, you could add that in instead. This one's making me work, trying not to strain. No visual strain, right? So if sometimes you're feeling a challenge in an exercise and we can actually get your face to read otherwise, there's some benefits to that. So if you feel like your face is tightening up and you can create a smile instead, that's awesome. You're training your brain. That exercise, and specifically that exercise, is not a negative thing, and you're overcoming it, right? So let's go out to the side, and we're going to shoulder circle out there, and reverse. I'm smiling because I can feel my face around the mouth wanting to tense up in a different direction. Woo! All right, so controlling the cranial system as well as controlling the body. And then other side, shoulder circle there. Nice work. Go back the other way. And good. All right. So shoulders, hips, definitely feeling looser, definitely feeling nice and prepped. So let's go into the elbows. Just go body weight with these today. So nice elbow circles. And then around the other way. Let's go ahead and half that speed. So working on tempo a little bit. Right, try to get full range of motion. So you'll notice my hands are coming all the way in, grazing the beard or your chin, and then all the way out, locking. So also working on, as we get through that straight arm position, palm down, rolling to palm up. And then go the other direction slow one time. And then let's speed them back up. So go to whatever your kind of perceived normal elbow circle tempo is. And see if the second time after going slow, you feel like you have a little more range of motion or a little bit more control. Sometimes slowing that tempo down really valuable and something that we should work on consistently. So from there, let's do a little bit of head and neck warm up. So we're just gonna tilt ear to shoulder. Think about lengthening through the crown of that head after each tilt. So lengthen, tilt, lengthen, tilt. And even on the tilt to the side, think about lengthening up to the right and then up to the left. Let's go chin tuck, head up. So these should be pain-free ranges of motion as well. And again, lengthening that crown of the head. Forward and up, and then back and up. Forward and up, back and up. So I'm not just letting the cervical vertebrae collapse on themselves. I'm trying to keep the muscles active with active length and tall posture into those movements. Good. So from there, we're going to jump right in to a couple rounds of lunges where we're going 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. So this is a Tabata format, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. You get my timer up. I'm going to show you the 2 lunge variations too as I do that. So I'm going to go ahead and face my attachment point today. And first option is step back lunges or reverse lunges, where we're stepping back and alternating, so you can alternate legs. Or we're going to stay in that lunge position and work on a quick switch or hop. And the depth of this does matter, so if you are trying the jump lunges today, going deeper is going to be more challenging. Staying up a little taller is going to be not quite as challenging. So the depth of that position can really make this possible or maybe make it too difficult. So if you are trying the jump variation, just keep that in mind. Taller, it's going to be a little easier. Dropping down into more depth, it's going to be more challenge. So 20 seconds on, ready, set, here we go. And you can pump the arms, especially if you're wearing a pedometer. We're going to get some steps in, even though these are probably a lot more intense than just your walking steps. So 5 seconds to go. Woo, way to push you guys, here we go. 2, 1, relax. We're doing 2 sets of that, so I'm just gonna stay in the band here. Woo, 10 seconds goes fast when you're doing high intensity stuff like this. Let's ready, set, and go. Good job, you got this. Way to push. And 3, 2, 1, good. Relax out. Awesome work, good. From there, we're gonna go into some back rolling. So working on the floor, if you have a massage table, if you just happen to have one at home, or if you have a bed, a couch, something that's comfortable to hop onto. If you don't want to be getting up and down off the floor a ton today, that's up to you, but if you're able to do it pain-free, use the floor. From there, we're going to do some rolling for 1 minute. The most important part of this rolling is that we keep your tailbone tucked, and at first, probably hands anchored on the floor. So you want to use the floor as an anchor point, pelvic tuck. We're going to roll up and then back, up and then back. Abs are tight. This is a phenomenal ab exercise. After a minute, you'll feel the abs. So if you want to go 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, because you hit a fatigue point at 20 seconds, go for it. Modify it to what works for you. It should be pain-free. So if it's not pain-free and you wanted to get into like a plank position, you could plank on a countertop, plank on the floor, plank on a wall, getting in a solid plank position instead. So if you know this isn't going to work well for you, those are alternatives. If you're going for it with me, we're going to start 1 minute on. Tuck the tailbone. So want to keep that posterior pelvic tuck, and that's going to protect the tailbone and the low back really as well. So we're almost trying to create this C shape with the mid and low back. And you can roll obviously well in a C shape. It's really tough to roll if we're keeping that big extension or arch in the low back. So what you'll also feel if you're getting into this C shape is that your lower abs engage a lot more. So you're gonna feel a better connection between your lower abdomen and your hip flexor muscles. Really important muscles for actually preventing low back pain. So if this is pain-free, it can be a great preventative and a great way to keep your core strong and keep your vestibular system engaged. You'll notice heads are going back and then up and back and then up. So amazing vestibular input. And we're also getting some elevation change where the height of your inner ear, your canals, anterior, posterior canal are specifically what we're targeting here, but those canals are changing height in space, so they're going lower to higher. So if you're somebody that really doesn't like lunges or squats, it might not be that your lower body's the issue, it might be that your canals, your saccules, don't like vertical movement, or your brain doesn't feel safe with that. So this is a way, if again it's pain-free, your back feels good with it, you're on the floor so it's safe. Your brain knows you're not gonna fall because you're already here on the ground. But then can we get your brain used to, more acclimated to that position change, high to low to high to low. A lot of adults don't do that enough. As kids, if you have kids or grandkids, you probably know they're doing vestibular work all the time. So that's my vestibular speech. We're gonna go skaters next. So you can grab your hand weight, your dumbbell, and for this one, let's go 2 rounds of Tabata again. So we're gonna stick in that 20-second on, 10-second off format. And the skater, we've done this in past session, might have been in the 10-day challenge actually, but we're gonna pass to the leg that we're loading and then do that ice skater motion over to the other leg. Ready, set, and go. 20 seconds on, passing the weight, using that momentum to shift and push across the floor to the other leg. So finding that point of stability. This back foot that's coming behind, you can set it down to the floor for balance if you want. You can keep it elevated if you want more challenge. Good, rest. Whew. Again, 10 seconds is gonna go quick. Hopefully you got your water bottle. Realizing, forgot mine, but here we go. So going side to side, pushing off that arch of the foot on that base or stance leg. Whew. Way to drive. Good lateral push. Use that weight transfer with the hand weight to guide the side-to-side movement and give you a little momentum. Good. Hey, that's 20 seconds. Good job. So little rest and let your heart rate settle. And the last one today, we're gonna do walking to 8 breathing. So I do want you to try to get a minute here, going 2 seconds inhale, 8 seconds exhale. So 2 in, 8 out, 2 in, 8 out. I'm gonna do a forward to back walk. So if you wanna go all forward, great. If you wanna balance out your vestibular system a little more, do some backward walking as well today. Inhale 2, exhale for 8. If your rolling there went well and you feel like your vestibular system is ready for a little bit more canal work, you can also focus on something on the wall in front of you and then do some head shakes. So like you're saying no, no as you walk, and go slow if that's uncomfortable at all. So slow it down. And if it's still not good at that slower tempo, or you're feeling like it's too much stimulus, just do the walking. The other way we can go with the head is up and down. So the yes, yes drill. And then there's even diagonals. So diagonals are great for the right or the left cerebellum. And up and down, the yes, yes drill. Again, go at a tempo that works well for you. That's a minute of active recovery, just over, and we're gonna go right back to the top. So when you're ready, we're gonna get back in that band, and we're going 20 on, 10 off. So you can stay anchored in if you have your band externally attached. Good solid setup. I'm gonna change direction and face out this time. If you liked the setup facing the attachment, you can do that, or you can switch it with me. We're gonna go 20 on, 10 off. Ready, set. And here we go. So either jump lunges or you're doing step back lunges. So you go with what works well for you. And trying to keep a little tuck in the pelvis on these is great. Relax. Whew. 10 seconds of rest. Way to finish this one strong. Here we go. Checking on. Comments, ready, set, go. We're on 20 seconds on second round. You got this. Step back lunges or jump lunges. Three, two, one. Awesome finish, you guys. Good. And relax out. From there, a little bit of rest. We're going to go back to a minute of rolling. So again, you can plank, you can side plank, if you know that pattern. Working on a hold, or this rolling pattern worked well for you the first time. We're going to go back to it for a minute. Whew. And remember, nice strong tuck in the pelvis. So tuck in the tailbone and protecting tailbone, low back. Abs engaged right away. Hands can go on the floor. And we're using momentum, thinking about driving the legs down a little bit to create some momentum and bring yourself up. As long as that pelvis is set, tailbone's tucked. Drive the legs, come up quick. Good job. Nice, you got this. So 30 seconds, keep pushing. If you're doing a plank hold, stick with it, you got this. Maybe take a few seconds to rest if you need it, and then get right back on it. Here we go, 15 seconds to go. You can do it. And 3, 2, let's go. One more. And relax. Good. So you can see that you can start to, if you're comfortable with the rolling pattern, it's a good one for you. You can start to play around with adding combinations into like shin box. So we could shin box, come up, stand up, shin box, working through hip mobility, go right back into rolling, come up, shin box the other way. That type of thing. As far as like movement sequences and combinations, those can be really fun too. So if you have family member, you're working with a coach, and you're working like on a Zoom format or in person, we can start to say, okay, give me 3 rolls, 2 shin boxes to the left, 1 shin box to the right, and then it becomes a cognitive challenge too, right? Where we know, A, your attention and focus is really dialed in, so good for people with like ADD, ADHD, or kids. And then you're also getting that short-term memory where we're sequencing a little bit. So just some ideas for you. And we're going back to skaters. So need your hand weight. Speaking of sequencing, right? 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest again. And ready, set. Here we go. So lateral skater step. It could be a side step. It can be more of a hop. It can be an all-out jump if you're feeling stable, on balance. You can increase the size of that lateral movement. Nice. Way to stay in rhythm. Let the arms swing through with the weight and relax. Good. Whew, feeling the hips. So those jump lunges combined with some skaters, definitely getting some good glute activation today. So here we go, going across, working on hip stability, ankle stability. Again, set that back foot down if you need to, so that foot can reach behind and stabilize, or it can stay elevated if you're more confident on that single leg. So way to push across, you got this. 2, 1, and break. Nice. Good. Way to get the heart rate up. Way to push. All right, from there, we're gonna go a minute, walk, breathe, forward, back. So for me, based on testing, I know an up-down VOR is a great stimulus, something that my brain and body need more of, so that's what I'm gonna work on. If you did something like a range of motion test, forward bend, rotation, and then you did your VOR to the side, your VOR vertically, and you found one of those was specifically a great input for you and improved your range of motion, what that means is basically when we improve range of motion, people are like, oh yeah, no big deal. I improved 20 degrees to the right. Well, somebody could honestly work 10 sessions in physical therapy to gain that 20 degrees to the right, and then if they don't practice afterwards, they may not maintain that range of motion. Here, we're testing in literally 30 seconds, and if you get that much of an improvement, A, it's remarkable, and you should note that, and B, you should do that consistently because it means that we changed flexor-extensor synergy, either around the spine in rotation or around the shoulder, like in a shoulder range of motion. And when flexor-extensor tone improves, that means we're moving in the right direction. So long story short, range of motion improvements are a bigger deal in neuro training than they sound. So you should listen to your brain and body training journal, note that down, and then make it a, if not a daily habit, at least a few times a week, trying to get some of that stimulus in. So I digress. We're going to go forward, back walking, and do some head movement if you know that it's a positive input for you. Hopefully explain somewhat of what that means. So you're like, oh, that's why my range of motion changed. Flexor extensor synergies. Oh yeah, thanks. So try to make the head movements, if you're doing them, smooth and controlled, keeping a visual target in front of you in focus. So the idea of these head movements is, can your eyes stay focused on something while you're in motion and then while your head's in motion? And if so, that's typically a good thing. The head movements themselves with the eyes are supposed to be reflexes. They are reflexes. And so if they're functioning well, they'll reflexively help you stabilize your gaze when you're in motion, which if you've ever driven a car, you know that's important. So from there, we're gonna go one more time jump lunges, one more time with rolling, and then we'll go ahead and cool it down. So go ahead and set up with your favorite band attachment, whether that was facing towards or facing away. We're going to establish tall posture, and again, you can go reverse lunge, step back lunges, or jump lunges. Remember, the depth on the jump lunge will change the difficulty. So deeper, it's going to be tougher. Going a little less depth on the leg switches, a little bit easier on the joints. And 5, way to push, 3, 2, 1, let's rest. Whew. Those are awesome for stamina, endurance, and lower body strength. Here we go, one more time. Good, a few seconds to go. Way to push through these. 3, 2, 1, hand rest. Good, way to go. Definitely feeling the legs on those. I hope you are as well. Way to push through. So the next movement, we're going back to a plank hold, a bear crawl hold, a side plank hold, any of those isometric versions, variations, or back to supine rolling. So we're going to go pelvic tuck, tailbone tucked, and ready, set, go. Shooting for a minute with this one. Way to breathe through it. And so visually, a couple tips. If these are tough, sometimes looking where you're going helps. So on the way back, looking up. On the way up, I'm looking forward or down even towards the floor as I come up out of it. So that's the way muscles and eyes would reflexively work. If we wanted to train you kind of for anything with the resilience concept in mind, we could look down and try a roll, and then look up and keep the eyes up and try a roll. And those feel a little weird sometimes. So the first version would be look where you're going and get the eyes and the body, the inner ear in sync first. That is today's session. So way to push, way to power through it. And we're going to go ahead, cool down with some nerve glides. So should extend the fingers, extend the wrists, pull the fingernails up towards the ceiling, straighten the elbow. So elbows locked. And then we're going to gently press shoulders down towards the floor, or shoulders, hands, press down towards the floor. Lengthen up through C6, C7. So the base of the neck there, nice and tall with the posture, a little bit of a chin tuck. You might be getting a little gentle nerve glidey sensation there already. If so, you can just hang out here. We can do a little bit of elbow bend and straighten. We can come in and out of the wrist position, so everything else staying the same. Change the wrist position, and then we could also shrug and press down through the shoulders. Good. Shake that out. Let's move to the lower body. So we'll pull a toe up. We're going to swivel the bottom of the foot out away from your midline and gently go into a 3 out of 10 stretch on that leg. Let's rotate the whole leg. So we're going to pivot, internal and external rotation at the hip. And then ease out of that. Let's go to the other side. Toes up. Try to pull that pinky toe up towards the sky. Big toe tilted in towards the floor, but still all 5 toes pulled towards you. Then let's go ahead, find your 3 out of 10, and then rotate through the hip gently. Good, and then ease out of that. Let's go back up to the upper body. So we're going to take your thumb, reach it across the palm towards the pinky, then flex the wrist. So if you've ever seen somebody shoot a basketball where they flicked the wrist and pushed the ball with the wrist, that's the motion. We're going to hold that wrist in flexion, hold the other one in flexion. So now we got the fingernails, that's what those are. I was going to say toenails. Fingernails towards the floor. Press the shoulders down, and then gently tip your head side to side, keeping a tall posture. Or if you're already at a 3 out of 10, we could stay neutral and do some shrugging. We can also hold that thumb towards the pinky, hold the wrist flexed, and then do a little elbow bending and straightening. And breathing deep as you go through these as well. So guys, the breathing bonus is posted. Hopefully you saw that. You can go back and review it. Use those respiration drills consistently. Really helpful for keeping your cardiorespiratory system healthy. So everybody knows those words are important, right? So practicing it consciously, though, helps the brain-body connection. Just like an elbow circle, we want to practice that full range of motion, different speeds, different tempos. You can apply that same concept to your breathing, your respiratory system. And you should have good respiratory control. Typically that leads to better respiratory health. So everybody like kind of jokes, oh yeah, I'm breathing. Like you said we're gonna work on breathing today, right? Haha, I'm breathing. Yeah, I know, you're breathing. Obviously we're all here, we're all alive, we're all breathing. But the quality, right? Just like the quality of an elbow circle might matter to prevent forearm, wrist, elbow, shoulder injuries, the quality of our respiratory system and how we breathe really matters too. So just want to encourage you, go back, use that video. It's up there for you as a free bonus. And then let's use one of those drills too to finish cooling down a little bit. So we're going to put hand on the wall. We're going to take the outside foot back and cross it behind the front foot. So outside foot back and cross behind. And then I'm going to take a deep breath in, kind of thinking about a step ladder up the ribs and reaching up while I breathe into that step ladder. On the way up, it's a reach. And then exhale, come down the step ladder, and the arm can come down. If I did a really good deep breath, that should be a lot slower. So as I've been talking, kind of rush through it. I don't want you to rush through it, okay? The purpose of these is getting a full inhale through every part of the rib cage all the way up to the top here at the collarbone. So let's do another one. And then exhale slow. So slow, slow, slow on the exhale. Which if you're coordinating the arm movement and the inhale, exhale, the up should be a little bit quicker than the down. Other side, same thing. So we're going to step that back foot behind and across. Deep breath in. Think about step laddering up the ribs as you breathe in. Ooh, and then back out. And for me, that side's tighter. If you feel that, usually you know that side might need a couple more repetitions on that given day. And just another good benefit of good respiratory practice is while you're taking your time, slowing down your breathing and paying attention to your brain-body connection, sometimes you'll find those areas where, oh, I've been walking around through my day and didn't realize that I was carrying excess tension in this left quadrant of my rib cage, but now I know. So don't ignore it. Try to consciously relax it, and also do some drills to work on it. Thanks for moving with me today. I'll see you for the lymphatic session on Friday, and looking forward to seeing you then. Thanks.